Thank you, Kate, and welcome to the nation's capital, Canada, as we get you set to kick off Canada Day weekend with a matchup of two highly motivated teams desperate for a win that would be sweet as maple syrup on a big old pile of flapjacks. Marshall Ferguson alongside Glenn Suter, Matthew Shinetti down at field level for us here throughout the evening, and we have two young and extremely athletic quarterbacks ready to go to battle here for these teams.
Yeah, for Edmonton, it'll be REDBLACKS who will get his first start in Canadian football, and when you add up his college career, 4 different schools, but his final school in his senior year was Troy. He threw for over 11,000 yards total. In fact, if you combine the two between he and Tyree Adams out of Western Carolina, they've combined for almost 20,000 passing yards in their college careers. They're trying to provide a spark, get these offenses on track. Both teams need to see more out of the offensive side of the ball.
And on the other side, that is head coach Bob Dice. As you see, he is extremely ready to get off the schneid here in Ottawa. Believes this is the night that the team can pull it off, but wants to do it by just doing the little things right. And there is Chris Jones, his team struggling defensively, giving up a bunch of rushing yards against the Toronto Argonauts. He said, you know what? Short week, don't care. Let's travel across the country, get out here in the East, and take on these Ottawa REDBLACKS as CJ Sims is back to return for the Edmonton Elks alongside Gavin Cobb. Ball is on the tee. Happy Canada Day weekend, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on the CFL on TSN, as it will be Sims returning it across the 30, stumbles at about the 32. Flag comes up as well, and out will come REDBLACKS with his first possession as the starter in the green and gold.
Yeah, stops at Bowling Green, Western Virginia, Western Kentucky briefly, and then finished his college career at Troy. You saw the 11,000 passing yards.
Holding, Edmonton, number 39. 10-yard penalty. First down, Edmonton.
You know, he takes over last week against the Argos late in that game, throws and completes 82% of his throws for 163 yards, and he did provide a spark. You could see it.
Yeah, absolutely. He told us as well this week that he liked his neck being a little sore after taking a big shot on the goal line late in that game against Toronto. He said, I woke up the next day and I felt like I had actually played in a football game. He was excited about it. Let's see what he's got tonight as he breaks the huddle here on his first possession of the ball game. Takes a snap, turns around, hands it off, and there it is, Kevin Brown in between the tackles for a gain of about 5. Let's meet the rest of the Edmonton starting offense.
Left tackle Martez Ivy will get the start. Andrew Garrett out on the 1 game injured, so we'll see how he does at that important left tackle position. The receiving corps, no Gino Lewis tonight. He'll be replaced by Maurice French at the University of Pittsburgh.
Lewis out with that knee injury as the REDBLACKS crowd into it here on a festive evening. 5 wide for Daggy. Looks to his left on second down. It's high and incomplete as flying out from his will linebacker spot. That's Frankie Griffin making the play. 2 and out here for the Ottawa defense to begin.
Yeah, just a little high throw, but you got to imagine that both of these guys in their very first start in the Canadian Football League are a little nervous. I mean, it's different when you come off the bench, as you know. Yep. It's different coming off the bench. It is, and when all week long you're taking the #1 reps and you're the guy with the keys to the car, and there's going to be some nerves, and that one just a little high for Dunbar, who was really activated last week.
Brandon Dandridge is back to return. The punt return touchdown in the only previous REDBLACKS home game this season, week 2 against Calgary. They send the pressure, can't get home, and so Dandridge will get his fingers on the football here. Crosses up around the 50, bellies out before he is brought down by the 2nd overall pick this year. That's Michael Broderick, and out comes Tyree Adams. Houdini. What kind of magic does he have tonight, Suits?
Well, he's athletic. I mean, he's a guy who can run, but I thought in our Zoom call with him was interesting when I asked him about running, and he said, you know, I want to run when the defense dictates that. When the defense shows a look or gets a free guy, I will take off. I'll use my legs, but I like throwing from the pocket. So we'll see with these two young guys. Again, first start for Tyree Adams.
Wants to prove he can throw it. They begin with Marco Dubois, the fullback, in as a flag comes up, and it will be handed off on the inside to Demontre Tuggle for the gain of a couple, and they'll sort out the laundry.
Offside, Edmonton, number 9. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Penalty goes against Coney Ely in the lineup. Dave Foxcroft, our lead official. Let's get a look at the Ottawa offense here.
Yeah, well, you got former Edmonton Elk and Jacob Ruby playing at right guard, and then Dino Boyd in that all-important left tackle position. And then in the receiving core, no Quan Bray. He has been cut by the team because of personal issues off the field, and so Siase Mariner will play in his spot.
We'll go back to the running game here on 1st and 5. Pick up a gain of a couple and set up 2nd and short. And Tyree Adams, as you said, he's kind of trying to juggle between what do people expect of me? What am I supposed to be? What am I as a starting quarterback? What am I as a pro quarterback? He's got a lot of questions to answer for himself as much as anybody else.
He does, and here's one real simple one. This is an opportunity for both these guys, Jarrett Daggy and Tyree Adams. They are not stable by any stretch of the imagination, either franchise, when it comes to the most important position on the field. They have an opportunity tonight.
2nd and short. They will give it off again. The running game. Tuggle, lots of room to run. Takes up the first down before he is smacked. Coming down from his free safety position is McLaurin.
How about that burst? Like that burst. Demontre Tuggle outside. He watches a little jump cut, and away he goes. Good second gear right there.
Suits, I think we've seen more snaps from Ottawa using the fullback on this first drive than they've had the entire season so far. As out comes Marco Dubois after a couple of physical snaps, helped by the penalty on first down. They'll go with a little jet sweep underneath. It is Hardy trying to cut back, and Luches Purifoy right there to make the tackle.
Take a look at the Edmonton starting defense. AC Leonard off the edge has got to start producing when it comes to the pass rush. 0 sacks so far after 3 games, and he has made 9 defensive tackles, so give him that. They'll move Luches Purifoy. He had a couple picks against Toronto. They'll move him down, play in the box and linebacking core, and put Mark McLaurin back there at the free safety spot.
2nd and 6 for Adams. Bunch to his right. He looks that way, comes back over the middle. Now pressure, and he'll go down. Sack. It's Coney Ely wrapping him up for the 2nd down sack and getting off the field while also making the field position worse here for the Red Blacks.
I'll tell you what, that was a heck of an effort by Coney Ely, because he gets double teamed off the edge. They're going to put him at defensive end here, and he has to fight through this double team. Kind of slide protect out. There's no extra rushers, so he gets double teamed there, fights through that, and still gets home.
Zach Pelios working on the right side of right tackle. 2nd overall pick last year in the draft. As Richie Leone punts it away, low line drive, and this one will skip out of bounds without being touched. And it will be at the 23-yard line as Ely. A 13-yard sack. Tyree Adams getting acquainted as a starter in the Canadian Football League here on Friday Night Football. The life and times of Jarrett Daggy. Man, this guy loves the transfer portal, but the statistics, they speak for themselves.
Yeah, 4 different schools. Bowling Green, West Virginia. Mentioned that quick stop at West Kentucky, and then Troy. Another star player that come from Troy University was Bear Woods. Remember Bear Woods? Linebacker, Montreal and Toronto, champion. Same school.
Daggy 2-0 to begin the ball game as he settles in for his 2nd possession. They'll give him an easy throw on a little bubble, and that time it's Abdul Kana flying in, and the defense for Ottawa on their toes here as Kyron Moore made the grab. Let's get a quick introduction to that Ottawa defense.
Well, Lorenzo Malden has got on the board in the sack department, but a little behind his pace of 17 from a year ago. You look at that linebacking core. Douglas Coleman is all over the field. I mean, he is leading their team in every category. And then in the secondary, you got Danbridge outside. Danbridge also the key returner for Ottawa.
The late rush here from the Red Blacks as Daggy looks to the outside, complete to Dylan Mitchell in front of the aforementioned Brandon Dandridge. And Mitchell.
Nice out route, just didn't get to the marker. You know, I mean, this is, as you know, you've got every route complements the next one. So he comes back out of that basic comeback and is about 2 yards short and in a position on the field where I don't think Chris Jones wants to mess with it. And he would agree with the decision. You got to kick this away.
So 2-and-outs to begin for Jared Daggy. Edmonton's offense going 2-and-out on 39% of their possessions thus far this season. 7th in the CFL. They'd like to correct that as the night moves forward. But Daggy just getting his feet settled as it'll be kicked away by the Elks. And Dandridge, after getting the tackle on the second down, gets a touch on the punt. Oh, very nearly. He saw it, didn't he? Yeah. Dandridge hungry to try and find the end zone again. He's got the only touchdown so far for Ottawa on the season. Tyree Adams, he'd like to get himself into the end zone as well. We'll see if he can when we return. From a highly productive career at Western Carolina to getting a DM from Philippe Moreau, of course, working in the front office here for the Ottawa REDBLACKS. Hey, you want to come up to the nation's capital and play some football? Here is Tyree Adams.
A champion in indoor football. So, you know when you can make people miss in the gym, that you can maybe make people miss on this field.
As they'll hand it off inside, and again a nice burst. Tuggle right through the tackles, and he'll go for a big chunk here on first down. They've missed a lot of that through their 0-2 beginning to the season. 20 big ones for Tuggle.
Yeah, Devontae Williams not ready for this one, not able to play in this one. So Tuggle gets in the lineup, and I've seen a couple of great plays with that burst. I mean, it doesn't have to be a 50-60 yarder to be a great play. You just get the sense of what he is, and what he is a change of gear right in the hole. I mean, he's got that burst through the line of scrimmage. It's the second time we've seen it tonight.
Pull back in once again here as they'll go back to the ground game, pounding it up inside, and it's easy to see here that Kahari Jones, offensive coordinator for the REDBLACKS, he has an idea in mind for how he's scripting the open of this game.
Well, you look at their 0-2 to start the season, and Devontae Williams had just 11 carries. They just weren't engaging the run game, and that puts your quarterback in a bind when he's dropping back in the pocket, and the defense can pin their ears back. It makes it tough. Nobody knows that better than Kahari Jones, a former quarterback. He's clearly got his run game engaged here tonight. Interior
of that offensive line as well. Drew Desjardins, Cyril Hogan-St. Don, and Jacob Ruby putting in work here in the first quarter at home for the REDBLACKS. Adams will look to throw outside, zips it, and it is incomplete on second down. Hesitated for just a second, looking for Ciosi Mariner.
Getting a chance to play Mariner on the outside. Let's see his comeback. Now you got to keep separating as you come back to the football. This is the same in whether you're playing in the 8-year-old level in flag or tackle football at the pro level. Take that extra step back to the ball.
Marcus Lewis made the play. Oh, and another look at it. Head coach Bob Dice has thrown the REDBLACKS colored flag down the field here to stop play and have a conversation with the lead official Dave Foxcroft. And did Lewis get there a little bit early on Ciosi Mariner is the question.
Yeah, Mariner, I saw when he got up there, he was pulling on his shirt. That clearly was a signal.
Ottawa is challenging that there was defensive pass interference on their receiver, number 82. We'll review the play.
You can't as a player make the flag motion.
So the command center will take a look at it. Tom Valesi, the replay official here tonight. Oh, maybe a little early. Bang, bang play. We'll get the answer when we return on Friday Night Football. Yep. One more look here at the replay. The questionable, is it pass interference? The early contact on Ciosi Mariner from Lewis. Here's Dave Foxcroft with the call.
After review, the ruling on the field is overturned. We have defensive pass interference, Edmonton number 26. That'll be a 10-yard penalty, automatic first down, Ottawa.
Well, Suits, there's only been 2 successful challenges to start the season. Need number 3 as Bob Dice gets one right.
Well, it's close. This is very, very close. It is a bang-bang play, and normally bang-bang plays, you'd stay with the ruling on the field. However, when we slow it down, and they will slow it down in the command center, the contact was made just prior to the ball arriving.
They go with a quarterback run this time in between the tackles for all 6'1", 179 of Tyree Adams. His speed certainly widening that edge a little bit. This time they go up in the middle for a gain of 5.
Yeah, Bob Dice told us that he's never seen, and Bob Dice been around the game for a long time. that he's never seen a quarterback with that kind of fast twitch ability to escape. And again, they don't want to overemphasize him just running, looking at that first read and running. They want him to run the offense. But he has that ability.
2nd down and 5. He'll hand it off, go back to Tuggle. And he'll be short by a yard and a bit. And see how aggressive Bob Dice is here, as it looks like the special teams unit will come off the sideline. And it will be the field goal team with a Lewis Ward attempt coming.
Couple of boos from the home crowd here on this decision from Bob Dice. I like it. I think it's what you got to do. You take the points in plus territory. It's 3rd and 2, not 3rd and 1.
As Lewis Ward lines it up from 34 out, knocks it through. The Red Blacks still do not have an offensive touchdown here to begin 2023. Dandridge on the punt return is the only one to reach the end zone for the Red Blacks, but they do get on the board early with a 3-0 lead. As we get a look at Jarrett Daggy and coming back out for another possession. He wants to be a spark for this team and give them something to rally around in week number 4.
We're 0-3, and I think our team is just looking for somebody to take them to that next level, looking for somebody to get them a win, looking for someone to give them a spark, and that's what I'm trying to do by my preparation, by laying my body on the line, by doing whatever I can in order for us to come out here with the win.
I don't know about you, but I just got a sort of a Matt Dunnigan flashback in my mind listening to Jarrett Daggy talk.
Daggy here on 1st down, throws underneath, and it's almost intercepted. Flying out underneath it in front of Kyron Moore. It looks like that was Frankie Griffin, as he's all over the field here to kick things off in week 4.
You know, when you're a defensive back or a linebacker against a quarterback in his first start, you jump the first look. And that's what's happening with both these quarterbacks. They're going to have to be patient, maybe look it and then look off. Look off a receiver. Get your eyes one way and then flip your hips the other side, because as a DB, your mentality is, I'm jumping that first look, because he's nervous. He wants to get it out of his hands.
Daggy on 2nd and long. Loads it up, checks it down. Kevin Brown underneath, and the Red Blacks defense rallies right there in their Canada Day weekend red uniforms to get the stop, and another 2 and out.
We used to love quarterbacks in their first start.
What was your favorite part about it?
Our DB room was just buzzing all week long against a quarterback in his first start, because you just felt like, you know, despite their college stats, despite their, you know, that first start when they worked all week and everyone's told them they're the starter and you got to think that, you got to process it all, that they're just going to come out in the first quarter and just throw it to the first guy they see. So jump those routes.
3 possessions, 6 snaps for the Edmonton Elks here to kick things off. As it's booted away by Jake Julian down the middle of the field here for Brandon Dandridge. 2 Elks run into each other, cutting back. Dandridge breaks across the 50, tries to get over the top of Julian. He can't, but into Edmonton territory. Brandon Dandridge breathes some life into the Ottawa lineup. A 29-yard return. And with Devontae Dedman down for the season, Brandon Dandridge ready to step in and make a big play for the Red Blacks. They have the football when we return. It is rarely a straight line to get to the Canadian Football League, and for more on the journey of Tyree Adams, we go to our own international man of mystery. Here is Matthew Shinek.
Well, speaking of international, I just want to give a shout out to Claire Hanna, who would be here tonight, but she's getting ready for the Women's World Cup. Good luck, Claire. But speaking of journeys, Marsh, well, it was Salina Liberty and the Champions Football League where Tyree Adams started, and then, as you mentioned, Philippe Moreau DM'd him on Twitter. Adams sent that to his agent, and then before the Champions Bowl, that would be Champions Bowl 7 that he would have played in, he sent it to his agent, and then as he was coming out of the Wendy's, he got a message from his agent, Tyree Adams did. Pack your bags, you're going to Ottawa. And as he's been here, and also not only did he miss the Champions Bowl, but he also missed playing in the Japanese X League, he's really fallen in love. He talked to us about taking photos of Ottawa and falling in love with the fans. He said, and I know you love this suits, it's my reason why playing here. Guys.
As Adams goes to work on a bootleg here, takes the open receiver. It is Marco Dubois, the rare fullback catch in Ottawa. Down the sideline, tiptoeing goes Dubois. Inside the 5, touchdown Red Blacks. touchdown for Marco Dubois.
Well, the crowd's going to love him if he keeps doing this kind of stuff. This is bootleg and something that really taps in to what Tyree Adams can get done on the field because of that athleticism. Get him outside the pocket, change the launch points. Dubois does the heavy lifting in this touchdown. No mistake about it, because it's a push to the flat that he turns into a big, big play. But that's Tyree Adams moving the launch point, moving the pocket on that bootleg. Makes a difference.
The last time we saw Marco Dubois run like that was about week 6 of last year, where he had to run about 110 yards on special teams, which is his specialty, to track down Lawrence Woods of the Hamilton Tiger Cats and make a special teams tackle inside the 5-yard line. The point after attempt is up and through. That's the first made extra point of the year as well for the Ottawa REDBLACKS and Lewis Ward. But the crowd absolutely into it at the end of the first quarter with a 10-0 lead, and just taking the simple stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it doesn't have to be real complicated. Get the launch point outside on that bootleg, fooled the defense, got them flowing one way, and then they paused and couldn't get back to Dubois going out into the flat, and then he turns the corner, makes one guy miss, and there it is right there, and away he goes. Now, I was wondering if he's going to stay in bounds, tippy-toeing right down the sideline. That's C89. Nice.
First career touchdown for Marco Dubois and Tyree Adams. Welcome to the Canadian Football League as a starter. Goes dancing down the field to celebrate with his teammates. As the man nicknamed Moose gets into the end zone fittingly here in the nation's capital on Canada Day long weekend.
Somewhere our colleague Dwayne Ford is loving that play. When a fullback slash tight end can get out there and turn on the jets.
Some people call it the wham, some people call it the smash, whatever you call it. The fullback flying back the opposite way on a bootleg. Oh man, there's people that love 80s and 90s CFL football. Onside here, surprise, dribbling across the line, and it will be recovered by Ottawa. As we welcome in the viewers on TSN3, welcome to a party in the nation's capital on Canada Day long weekend. We get a look at the surprise onside here from Bob Dice.
This happens because of video study, when they look at it all week and think that the Elks might be bailing to get their blocks set up too early. So you try and fool them early in the game with an onside kick. The question is, you can't touch it before 10 yards. They waited, were disciplined on the play, executed, and will get their offense on the field.
And Chris Jones wants to speak to the officials here. DeAndre Lamont, a first-year CFLer out of Illinois State, was the one who got on top of the football. Richie Leone, look at the skill in the turn back and dribble.
Just got to make sure that they don't touch it before. Was it touched before 10? And I don't think it was. Not at all.
I guess Chris Jones was questioning whether or not it hit Justin Howell, 21, for the REDBLACKS, in the back or the arm on that spot. He does have, as you can see, the challenge flag out. And they're taking a look at it with Corey McDermott there, the special teams coordinator.
After review by the command center, there was illegal interference on Ottawa number 38. It's a 10-yard penalty. We'll redo the kickoff.
Well, they're asking about a penalty. Someone blocked before, got downfield and threw a block right at the point of attack. DeAndre Lamont is just to the right of your screen here. Go ahead and run it, and you're going to see right there is the contact. You can play the ball after 10, but you can't stop the return team from trying to recover. You just got to get to the ball first. And clearly he made the block, prevented the Elks player from getting there, and recovered the ball, and that's why it's taken back.
A tough one for Lamont because it's an innocent mistake. Yeah. Right? I mean, he's running forward, and the Edmonton player closes the distance. And
it's almost like if he would have acted it a little better. In other words, make it look like you're going for the ball, but actually be hitting him in the same time. A more experienced player might do that. But these are two young teams, and Chris Jones is giving the officials his version of the entire.
Field Judge Jason Maggio in a conversation about the rule book, as it will back Ottawa up here. And so Richie Leone will now get set to kick this one away from the 20. And CJ Sims had a heck of a week against the Toronto Argonauts, returning kickoffs. And now, I mean, you see where he's standing at his own 30. He might catch this at his own 35 suits, and it's automatic field position for Edmonton.
Almost 300 yards last week for Edmonton. They found one. The CFL's found another returner, folks.
Leone digs into this one. Nice long kick. He does drive it all the way to the 25, and it will be Sims returning it up to the 40, and then turned around, ran right into his own player, and got turned back. The coverage unit of the Ottawa REDBLACKS, one of the best in the CFL right now, holding opponents to just 13 yards per kickoff return. And out comes Jarrett Daggy once again, looking to get into that rhythm.
From Lubbock, Texas. So you know that Jared Daggy on Fridays had his jersey number out in his front lawn. you know that was Friday, the whole Friday Night Lights Texas football comes from that background.
The lights are on here, still waiting for this Edmonton offense to breathe life, and down to the 52-yard line. It will be number 22, Shannon Brooks, with a power run here out of the backfield.
Yeah, he got the edge because there's some nice blocking. It hardens the edge for that right tackle. It looked like it was Josiah St. John getting a nice block to turn his man inside. That gave Shannon Brooks the edge, and nice play on first down.
Former Golden Gopher checks out of the ball game out of Minnesota, first year in the Canadian Football League. As the short yardage team is in, and we get the first look here at Khalil Tate, third string quarterback behind Taylor Cornelius and Jarrett Daggy, and he drives the legs forward. Was with Edmonton in training camp. Was cut. Kai Loxley was kept as a depth quarterback, short yardage quarterback, and Loxley cut after the game against Toronto on Sunday.
This has been an issue for the Edmonton Elks all year long, getting that 1 yard, and it was quite a bizarre situation against Toronto when Chris Jones, Stephen McAdoo, and Jarius Jackson, all part of the quarterback room and the offensive coordination, and I thought it was Taylor Cornelius's best half of football of the 3 games that they played, and he got a couple of plays in a one-possession game in the second half, and then was pulled. Kai Loxley went in for 1 play, and then there's different versions of the story, but didn't want to go back in or wasn't asked to go back in, and Jared Daggy goes on. So
they've got Jake
bizarre.
Yeah, no doubt. They've got Jake Seresna in. I think that might be Jamin Pelly in there. They've got AC. Half the defensive line is in right now for Edmonton in short yardage. 3rd and a yard off the ball. Take it, stepped up, turned around.
Didn't get it.
A flag comes out. Lorenzo Malden jumps out of the pile celebrating. And what are the flags? Chris Jones.
Oh, this is big.
Looks on. I got to say, by the way, that was the entire defensive line that was in. It was Coney Ely, Jamin Pelly, AC Leonard, Jake Seresna. Chris Jones not afraid to flip the rosters all over the place. As here is Dave Foxcroft with the call.
Offside, Ottawa number 45. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Pretty tough to see. See early movement, but often you see well, maybe one hand there just in the neutral zone. I don't know, the fans here just saw the replay, didn't see early movement.
So Ottawa's defense stays on the field. High snap to Daggy, hands it off inside once again, and Brooks turns the legs for a couple more. Football comes out at the end of the play, but it looks like for now they'll say that Brooks was down.
Say he was down. Let's take another look at it, because that ball came out as he was on his way down. Now, did he have a knee down, or Brooks hits the line here? Yeah, it looks like he was down inside.
It was the first down for Edmonton as Daggy shuffles the feet and fires a missile, this time intended for Stephen Dunbar Jr. Hit his hands and just couldn't haul it in, so Edmonton's offense goes to the sidelines again.
Yeah, it was a laser, wasn't it? I mean, that was a hard throw, and you know, when you're going in there as a receiver, you know, Marshall, you got to keep that ball down so he can protect himself.
Oh yeah.
You put it up there high like that, and you're exposing the ribs of your teammate.
Brandon Dandridge electric earlier on in this first quarter. The return across midfield, all he needs is a step. They got a couple of good returners here in Ottawa, even with Devontae Dedmon down. And again, Julian right down the middle of the field. Two-way go for Dandridge, and he goes to his right. Outruns two men, now a third, and gets popped out of bounds into the sideline. But Dandridge, instant field position once again.
Scan the QR promo code on screen to pay $30 less on a Crave Total 6-month plan versus a monthly subscription to get access to the most talked about series and latest hit movies.
Dandridge, he's fun to watch. He's worth the price of admission. Bouncing outside. So the call on the onside, which Ottawa recovered and was overturned, has not really hurt Ottawa in the exchange.
And that time Adams kind of wanted to hold on to it for an extra second, as that'll be a tackle for loss in the backfield. Jamin Pelly right there as he leads the Canadian Football League now in tackles for loss with 3.
You know, this defense has played pretty well against the pass, but their issue has been trying to stop the run all season long. 133 yards from AJ Ouellette, I should say, for the Argos a week ago.
They play with that 3-man front so much. Looks like they will here on 2nd and 12. 3-man rush. Pocket getting compressed. Adams throws off his back foot. Up high. It's intended for Jalen Acklin and incomplete as Acklin continues to try and find his footing here in 2023.
Yeah, slow start. Slow start for a 1,000-yard receiver. Now he's moved in a different position, but
as Acklin asking for a call, unnecessary roughness perhaps, but Ottawa, the fans are happy here. Big Joe with a 10-0 lead at the end of one to kick off Canada Day weekend for the CFL on TSN. After one quarter of play here in the nation's capital, it is the running game of the Ottawa Redblacks coming to life with Demontre Tuggle and Tyree Adams at quarterback, and Marco Dubois, a 54-yard catch and run. But that Edmonton offense still struggling to get things going, Suits.
So you played the position, Marshall. So these two quarterbacks in their first start, obviously there's some nerves there. Both have overthrown receivers, a little bit too high. So what's the mechanics issue for a quarterback when they're nervous first start and sailing the ball a bit?
A narrow base is the first thing that jumps out to me for Jared Daggy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's struggling to try and find the target, and it's all base up, right? That's the thing that has to happen to get people in the right setup. Get
to settle in, get the legs and the hips through, and take that good lead step. Matty used to tell me the eye on the hip is where you're pointing to your target, and then the follow through. And you know, when you got some nerves, both guys have been a little bit high on some of these throws, but Tyree Adams, of course, has done a couple things. One, made the good decision on the Dubois throw to just get it to his fullback. He did the rest. And number two, not turning the ball over, because that's been the issue for Ottawa in 2 games.
Yeah.
10 turnovers. They're last in the league give takeaway, and they've been giving up 5 a game. Way too many. Can't win with a young team that way.
conversation on the sidelines right now. Jarius Jackson, the quarterback's coach, speaking to Cornelius. And Jared Daggy as Sim settles down underneath this one. And he gets blown up without any return. Ty Cranston downfield to make the special teams tackle for the Red Blacks. And Daggy does come back out to begin the second quarter.
So, yeah, we wondered because all of a sudden Taylor Cornelius was warming up his arm. And the way it happened last week against Toronto and saw 3 quarterbacks in, I don't know, 5 minutes in the third quarter. Maybe they were going to make another change and go back here to Taylor Cornelius, but he's just staying loose on the sideline, and we'll see Jared Daggy again.
Feels like Daggy just has to settle in, get a couple of completions here. We'll see if Stephen McAdoo can try and game plan some completions for him. He tries to underneath. Gets it to Vincent Forbes' mom, Blow, who was the hero on the deep late touchdown, the desperation throw from Daggy last week. And now they'll say it is completed. Yes. Some conversation down there, but Edmonton 0 of 5 on second down conversions right now as they set up for another.
Out, but down by contact first.
2nd and 4. Daggy drops in the pocket, loads it up, wants the deep shot over the top to Dylan Mitchell, floating in the air, up for grabs. It's intercepted, and it is Ottawa football, as it'll be Damon Webb right now, holding on to the football high in front of the Ottawa faithful with a 10-0 lead. Let's get a look at it, Suits.
We'll take a look at the route from Dylan Mitchell here. He gets inside release with Danbridge on outside shoulder and Webb coming from inside out. A little bit of contact, but when the ball is played in the air like that, then anything that happens beyond it, you see the pull from Mitchell with the jersey. They're going to let that go. No flags on the field. Interception and a turnover in the plus category for the Red Blacks.
And Chris Jones doesn't appear to be looking for his challenge flag as of right now for anything. So Daggy goes and takes a look at it on the sideline with Jarius Jackson. And an interception for the Ottawa Red Blacks to get possession back. Jackson Bennett, Canadian running back, is in the backfield. He'll get the touch and pick up a gain of a couple.
Yeah, the starter, because Jeremiah Mazzoli was out of the lineup, the starter for Ottawa was Nick Arbuckle. He got a couple of opportunities and, you know, had the turnover issue, I think, more than anything. And by the way, as an update, Jeremiah Mazzoli is very close. We're talking week, maybe 2, and he'll be back at the controls.
Taking his reps every day in practice, doing some skelly, hurry up. They want him to get back 12 on 12 and be here on game day. Right now it's Tyree Adams. 2 backs in the backfield. Looks over the middle. That one floats in between coverage. And Ciosi Mariner moves the sticks on 2nd and long.
Now there's a confidence builder. There's a confidence builder for a guy in his first start. Watch the window. He's going to fit it in here. There's linebacker underneath. There's dropping backers. There's Konar busting to it. Take a look at what Tyree Adams sees. A lot of white jerseys in that area, and he fit it in.
Konar's going to be kicking himself for not jumping that one sooner, I think. Inside handoff stacked up. That front from the Elks, they've struggled against the run so far this season, but that one was going nowhere.
You know, Chris Jones has talked off the top of the show about, you know, he's not as concerned about the run because he has had a history of getting it done. Back in 2013 when he took over in Edmonton, they were last against the run on defense. Fixed that in 15, they won the cup. Then same thing last year, now it got worse to start this season, but he's going to get that sorted out. And they've been better tonight.
Absolutely. After a couple of plays in the first quarter, that front has settled in. Just 3-man rush here as Adams goes underneath to Jackson Bennett, trying to get the sticks. Needs to find the 47 of the Elks, and they'll signal first down here on the second effort by 22 in red and black.
Yeah, and I like the decision by Adams. I mean, Tyree is basically saying, I'll take the back out of the backfield. This is something that a lot of people forgot about the success with Nathan Rourke in Vancouver, was he used James Butler a ton. Just get it to him early enough so that he can have a game plan to get to the sticks and get a new set.
For all the struggles of Edmonton against the run, they are second against the pass, but they can't stop that conversion. Adams in the gun, looks to throw quick, now he'll take off, trying to make something out of nothing up the middle. Ball is out, so is a flag.
Yeah, I think this is going to be holding on the offensive line. It looked like Ely was grabbed. It was Drew Desjardins who gets him.
It looks like it will be against Ottawa, with Dave Foxcroft communicating to the Edmonton sideline.
Ottawa, number 59. 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
We'll get the center, Cyril Hogan St. Don, 11th overall pick last year, on the call.
My apologies to Drew. Calling him out on a holding. We don't talk about the O-line enough, and then when we do, that one looked like the ball came out too. And now Chris Jones wants to take a look at that, I think.
So he didn't throw the challenge flag on the potential defensive pass interference on the interception thrown by Daggy. He saved it and now wants to go ahead and use it to try and get the football back around midfield on a fumble. We've had a lot of close calls on fumbles here in this ball game, but this one looks the most convincing in favor of the recovering team.
Yeah, we'll take another look, and the command center be interesting explanation here, because that ball sat on the turf after it went out from Tyree Adams.
Edmonton coach was provided with additional information that there was not immediate recovery on the fumble. Therefore, there is no challenge.
So the play was whistled dead. The ball was just sitting there. No Edmonton Elk recovered it or didn't think it was a fumble, and therefore the play was dead and no challenge. And then that way, Coach Jones does not have to waste his challenge on something that he can't, where there was no play.
And understandable for Elks fans to be upset about that one, the explanation, but in reality, they're just trying to help Edmonton not waste a challenge on that one.
Yeah, exactly.
So get a look there at Niles Morgan. 21 defensive plays made, 4th in the CFL, as the man in the middle of Chris Jones' defense will stare down Tyree Adams. Now 1st and 20 after the penalty applied. Adams throws a little crosser to Justin Hardy, cutting across the 55, makes a second man miss. Now he's got 15 yards back on 1st and 20. That's a win for the Ottawa offense.
Yeah, I mean, you're happy offensively if you get 10 back. You get back to a 2nd and 10 kind of scenario. That's a win. So this is a win plus to get a little bit of extra work done by Hardy out in the flat. Again, Adams taking the easy ones, a little shallow crosser here. That shallow crosser underneath the linebacking core in the second half. The idea is the linebacker core will get closer to the line of scrimmage.
Flare out Jackson Bennett, and miscommunication on this one with the OC Mariner. He's coming off a hamstring injury. Back maybe a week quicker than they thought he would be with the release of Quan Bray late last night. And so miscommunication on that one. By the way, from your perspective, the crossing route, most annoying route on the planet to cover, yeah?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right in front of the linebackers, because it pulls the linebackers up to the line of scrimmage. But that was just, that was a communication error that Mariner thought it was the out and up, or the wheel route, and then through the out.
That's the out. Whatever the name of that play is, Kansas. You go, did you say Kansas Special or Kansas?
Right.
Special would have been the out and up.
Right.
Here's Lewis Ward drilling it from 50. He's got the distance, knocks it through. Ottawa extends their lead 13-0. And the Kingston, Ontario native fired up on Canada Day long weekend. 13 13-0 the deficit for Jarrett Daggy and the Edmonton Elks, but he is no stranger to adversity. For more, down to the field, here's Matthew Shinetti.
Yeah, absolutely not, Marshall. You took us through his journey earlier, over 50 games in college, and through all that, what has kept his emotional baseline is his older brother, Seth, who was a star quarterback at Texas Tech, was a quarterback with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and now is a tight end coach with Purdue. And through all of it, the older brother has always done experiences before the younger brother, and he's always tried to impart on him every bit of advice. So as they were talking this week, the one thing Seth was listening to his brother talk about the game plan, talk about what he had to do to be ready, and he said, you know what, I'm missing playing. But the one thing, every time Jarrett Daggy says, I'm going to go and I'm going to strike out swinging. But Seth always tells his younger brother, you're never going to strike out. Guys.
Love that inside run here from the Elks in Ottawa, not having any of it. There's Douglas Coleman there in the backfield with Cleon Lang and Adam Auclair, but I love that from the brother. Hey, strike out swinging. I'm not going to strike out. You're not going to strike out. Go get it, man.
Yeah, I mean, keep it positive and go try and take full advantage of your opportunity. You know, my question and where the sort of the drama is added is, what does Chris Jones do? How long is he going to give Daggy to get something going offensively and get some traction before he goes back to Taylor Cornelius? It's just unpredictable with him.
Second down and long. Ottawa pass rush getting after it, and Daggy goes down. Ottawa's defense there once again started the season with 6 sacks on the road in Montreal. They had another here at home.
Take a look at the coverage, because, you know, the first thought, I think, is that your quarterback is holding on too long. Go ahead and run it, guys, and we'll see exactly if he had an open target. Stop it there. Pretty good coverage there. Excellent coverage there. You know, the only one that's open is the check down, and it looked like that pocket collapsed as he tried to get there.
8 sacks made on the season so far. Coming into tonight for Ottawa as they get home once again. Perhaps the best unit they have on this team is the defensive line. Continues to pay dividends as Brandon Dandridge returns from his own 34-yard line. Gets to the left, thought about going down the sideline, cuts it back to the middle. We get an opportunity to look at the majesty of the Red Blacks defensive line. Push in the pocket, wrapping up the legs, nowhere to go, and Kenny Onyeka finishes it off. In honor of Canada Day, and of course being here in the nation's capital, the top 5 Canadian players in Ottawa franchise history, from Westdale Secondary to the top of the charts. Russ Jackson out of Hamilton, Ontario gets himself up on that list, but man, there's a lot of great players in the history of this organization, as there is with everyone.
Yeah, but that, I mean, 1 and 2 on that list, you can't argue those two.
Dave Phelan, Kayvon down the sideline here. Oh, actually pumped it, came back inside. Jalen Ackland makes the grab. I thought for sure as the ball pops out at the end that that was going to be the home run shot down the rail from Tyree Adams. He looked everybody off and flipped it back inside to 23.
But boy, he looks comfortable when he gets outside on the run, and this is where Ackland can really help a young quarterback, is finding the dead spot, finding that space where he can just slide into that hole, and then it looks like he was down, the knee had touched.
First catch of the ball game here for Jalen Ackland. Announces his presence in week 4 as Ottawa tries to end their home losing streak with a 13-0 lead over Edmonton. They'll empty it out for Tyree Adams. Quarterback draw up through the middle. Cyril Hogan St. Don out in front. Adams cuts off him. Another first down and a gain of 17 yards on the ground for number 7.
Well, yeah, I'm going to make a quick comparison. I'm not going to compare them. But I'm just saying, man, the way he ran up the middle there, it reminds me of Damon Allen a little bit. Just smooth as butter, just through the middle, sliding up in there, and then big gain, patience, one stride, picks up a ton of yards. We just saw Damon in Edmonton last week.
Be in Toronto as well, coming up on Monday.
Now, I'm not comparing their careers, and this is start number 1 for Tyree Adams. This reminds me a little of.
I see it. I see it. There's no shame. We actually asked Bob Dice this week because of all of his experience. You know, who's the quarterback you've seen that matches the body type of Tyree Adams? 6'1", 179.
Yeah.
And you very quickly just went, I think he's got some Damon in him.
Little Damon. But I haven't seen him live.
Yeah.
So now I get a chance to see him live, and that run reminded me of him.
As the leader in the middle of that defense, Miles Morgan goes off to the sideline out of Notre Dame. Fourth leading tackler in the CFL. I got to give some love, by the way, to Cyril Hogan St. Don, the center out in front, out of Laval. Remember watching a little bit of him leading into the CFL draft. He did that all day for the Rouge et Or and brings it here to Ottawa, thundering down the middle of the field to lead block for his quarterback. Average yards on first down right now, Ottawa at 12.6. Edmonton at just 3.9. The Red Blacks owning first down offensively. They get another here with Adams. They go back to the ground game. It is Jackson Bennett churning the legs and getting turned around by Jake Serezna. Really the heart of this Edmonton front.
The other thing that Damon was famous for, we used to call it Sally Rand. But that fake going one way and then bootlegging out of there, that was the first touchdown to Dubois.
Absolutely.
Very Damon-like. Now he's got to let's see what he's got to throw for. He's got to throw and run for over 80,000 yards to be completely compared to him.
Should be easy. Let's see if he can get in the end zone here. Adams checking it down. It goes back to Dubois. Why not? Can't pick it up. And Ottawa deep in Edmonton territory with a 13-0 lead. Clock running, 5.5 remaining here in a very successful first half. All things considered from the recent history of Ottawa in their home games. We'll send out Lewis Ward after he hammered through a 50-yarder and give him a much more appealing attempt.
You got the most consistent kicker CFL history. 88.3% for Lewis Ward in his career.
This one from 15 yards out to add to his accuracy, acumen. Up and through. Ottawa continues to lead 16-0 on Friday Night Football. The toughest decisions of the day here on Canada Day long weekend. An email chain between us, producer John Hines, Glenn Suter. How do you possibly pick 5 Canadian players for the Double E?
Yeah, that's a tough one. And, you know, I like our list. But the list is open for debate. And any debate that you would like as a fan, just contact our producer, John Hines.
Daggy down the middle of the field, and it's dropped. Intended for swerve. Kyron Moore was running right down that hash, and Daggy thought he had him for the big splash here in Ottawa.
I think he did have him. Did Damon Webb get his hand on the ball? Because it looked like that might have been tipped, or at least he was distracted. He's in the quads to the field, 4 receivers out there, and he's the inside guy going straight down the seam. And watch the reaction. Webb get his hand on that just enough. No, he just distracted him. Just missed it.
Regardless, I mean, I know we narrowed the hashes last year here in the CFL, but Damon Webb's the boundary halfback.
It's a long way to go.
I mean, that was high coverage and got over there in time to influence the play. But what that would have meant to Edmonton's offense down 16-0.
Oh, yeah. And to the confidence of Jared Daggy. Remember that throw over the middle Tyree Adams made? He made that throw over the middle. Was about a 23-yard gain, 24-yard gain. That just settled him right down.
Yes.
And then Daggy needs that.
Edmonton offense right now, 15 plays, just 31 yards and 1 first down. And it came via penalty as well on the offside on 3rd and short. So they really haven't been able to earn one so far as Phil Krahovic checks into the ball game, shuffling the deck as the injury to Josiah St. John, the former 1st overall pick back in 2016. So the rookie out of Western trying to protect Daggy. Here he gets hit as he completes over the middle. And it will be to French diving forward. And a nice effort there from French on his first touch of the ball game, Maurice French. But man, Daggy got popped just as he got rid of that thing.
Yeah, we mentioned that Gino Lewis is out of the lineup. So this one, just again a check down here to get it. He takes the big hit. coming across the middle here. But I like the second effort from Maurice French outside.
Justin Howell forcing the issue down from free safety as well out of Carleton to force French towards that sideline. And so it will send out the punting unit once again. Julian's been going down the middle of the field throughout this whole first half, and Dandridge has had a lot of opportunities to pick and choose where he wants to take the punt return. 16.5 yards per punt return right now. Second in the CFL for Dandridge. Adding that total tonight. This is a big boot, though. He'll catch it over the shoulder for Dandridge. Takes a hop step, runs into the middle, and the coverage unit right there for the Elks. The CFL and TSN continues all Canada Day weekend with a matchup between the Blue Bombers and Alouettes tomorrow, and a showdown on Monday as the Lions will also face the Argonauts. Should be a fun one. Montreal and Winnipeg. That's an angry Winnipeg team after what happened to them against the BC Lions at home.
Yeah. Good matchups this weekend. I mean, this one, you know, we got to get one of these teams got to win tonight, as the panel filled us in on, and and then you go to the Montreal game, and then we've got Toronto and BC, two unbeaten. So it's going to be a good weekend of CFL football. Danbridge has been great tonight. He should have let that one go and given up the single and get the field position.
Yeah, some tough field position here as we roll towards the 3-minute warning. In this first half, Ottawa content to go with the ground game. Tuggle, first time we've called his name in a little bit of time here. He had a pretty successful first quarter. And the offense for Ottawa at the controls of Tyree Adams. 3-minute warning.
We're doing a viewer poll for the CFL. What is more terrifying? Milt Siegel's face, or the fact that the Edmonton Elks have run out of quarterbacks at this point? Oh, we're going to talk positive Ottawa, by the way. Dandridge, Dubois, the D-line, so much positivity.
Is Milt okay?
Siegel's terrified. Another run here by Tyree Adams. Flag comes out. Looks like it might be a hold against the Red Blacks. That's the most angry I think I've ever seen Milt. Staring down the camera. They'll have all first half analysis for you coming up.
Wanted to go get that on his own. Adams.
Offside, Edmonton, number 6. Penalties declined. Result of the play, first down.
He gets it. That's big. Gets him out of the hole and get a 2-and-out there, and Edmonton gets real good field position going into the half, but this run alone gives them room to, at the very least, punt it.
You see Leonard, the guilty party that time, striving to try and get some pressure on the quarterback from his defensive end spot, and cheated the start as the handoff goes off tackle into the waiting arms of the aforementioned AC Leonard, and Tuggle shakes his head, stumbling a little bit, thought he had something more.
Yeah, he was going so quick. His feet, we've seen the burst. His feet were going so quick, he tripped himself. He got stumbled a little bit. He thought he could bounce outside and get the edge, but 2nd and 7.
8 carries and 44 yards right now for Tuggle. As Marco Dubois, the touchdown earlier, lines up in the backfield here alongside Tuggle. Adams will throw, max protection, and still Serezna gets a hit on the quarterback. Throw is high and incomplete, intended for Jalen Ackland. And the Edmonton secondary celebrates getting off the field as Ackland being held to just one grab right now in this ballgame.
You know, Jake Serezna has been a bright spot for the Edmonton Elks all season long, although he's had a couple of unlucky plays that have been real impactful plays. Go back to week 1, he had an issue with an official celebrating a sack, which was a complete mistake. That kept the drive alive. And then against Toronto, another effort, big effort, didn't do it on purpose, but got a horse collar penalty that was impactful.
Richie Leone, high spiraling boot all the way to the 40-yard line of Edmonton. Now it's a race to the sideline. Alonzo Adai gets CJ Sims. Nigel Roma tries to make the tackle. And finally, it'll be ended off by Tyrone Freda there. Global as you get a look at the ups and downs of Jake Serezna.
When you're a struggling team, you just sometimes you get this bad luck. And you know, this was a sack against Saskatchewan week 1. He rolls in their celebration, hits official. That's an automatic penalty. Kept the drive alive for Saskatchewan and got points out of it. And then against Toronto, this was a key moment, a one-possession game. He gets that penalty. They scored there and then scored again on a block, off a block kick. Again, great start to the year for Jake Serezna. Just some bad luck.
Pump and go here on the outside, and it is complete. Daggy that time hit as he got releasing the football, but completes it for a gain of 25.
I'll tell you what, this is the type of throw here that keeps you on the field for the second half. You know, like going at halftime, the question was, would Jared Daggy say the second half?
Biggest offensive play for the Elks so far in this ball game. Daggy again, hit as he throws. It's complete underneath the French, and Coleman makes the play that time.
Boy, he's a player.
He's everywhere.
Yeah, Douglas Coleman, converted receiver. Went to the good side, defensive back.
I don't know why he made the switch. They'll go quick to the line on 2nd and 6. Daggy checks. Yeah. Noise comes in from the Red Blacks crowd. Shrug of the shoulders from about 4/5 of Edmonton's receiving group as Daggy will take the snap. 4-man pressure. It's on again. He can't get rid of it. Down he goes. See that one coming with the confusion at the line 10 seconds before the snap came up.
Well, in 3.5 games, you know, the discussion has been a ton about the quarterback, and whether it be Taylor Cornelius, whether it was Kyle Oxley, or now Jared Daggy. But in key situations in games, they need better protection than that. That was a fast break. Doesn't really matter who you put back there. In a fast break situation like that, where 4 guys from the Ottawa REDBLACKS are just buzzing around the quarterback, it's impossible to throw from your back. That's the 15th sack they've allowed this season in 3 games, or 3.5 games.
Last in net offense as well. Last in scrimmage plays run per game at just 43 offensive snaps per game. Edmonton's offense is battling right now, as Kate in the panel, I'm sure, will discuss that coming up in 45 seconds. Flag comes up on the snap here. Jake Julian tries to fade this one with the pitching wedge inside the 10. And Dandridge gets wrapped up out at the 15-yard line, and they'll...
You know, again, I know there's the teams that are looking for that first win, but I think Coach Dice should have a conversation with Dandridge. As good as he's been in this first half and all season, really, in returning kicks, he's got that touchdown. It's one thing to be that confident you think you can take them all back to the house, but if you catch the ball inside the 10-yard line, it's really a smarter move to let it go into the end zone, give up the single, and get the field position.
Ottawa number 48. The penalties declined. First down, Edmonton.
Gary Johnson with the call there, the backup linebacker out of Texas. First year in Ottawa, 3rd in the CFL, and he's wondering how the heck was I offside as he comes back to the sideline, and special teams coordinator Corey McDermott.
Yeah, and they made an error there. It was first down Ottawa, not first down Edmonton, but yeah.
Adams in the offense. All things considered, you thought at the beginning of the week Jeremiah Masoli was going to be announced as the starting quarterback. That's what we expected after they said he's not going to play week 1, week 2, bye week in week 3. To begin week 4, you heard Tyree Adams wasn't Nick Arbuckle. And we started to go, what's happening here in Ottawa? And the 16-0, this is probably the best case scenario right now for the Red Blacks fans.
Yeah, I think he's settled in nicely.
Absolutely.
I really do. And he looks real comfortable throwing on the run. We've seen a couple of quarterback draws. Forward to seeing the second half.
See what plays he can make as they mixed and matched the run with the pass. A couple of quarterback draws, a couple of second down conversions through the air. And that Edmonton defense looking to get themselves some consistency is, yes, to begin the second half.
Are you going back?
Oh.
Absolutely.
I want the ball.
Yeah. So Jared Daggy, second half.
We will see as Jared Daggy picks up his helmet and makes his way to the visiting locker room here at TD Place. A smiling Tyree Adams alongside Siosi Mariner makes their way off the field. And Chris Jones shut out here in the first half as he was in the full game against the BC Lions. That's 0, a little bit haunting for Elks fans right now, looking for offensive production and a jolt of energy in the lineup. But that front for the Ottawa REDBLACKS has really sent a message to begin the season. Let's go down to Matthew Shinetti field level with Tyree Adams.
Tyree, what calmed your nerves there? Was it that touchdown pass to Dubois, or when you ran up the middle there before you guys made it 16-0?
Honestly, I think it was the first play, honestly. Once you get the first play going, and especially when you take that first hit, you know it's showtime. It's time to go. Quarterback's alive, and just go out and give everything you need.
You're up 2 scores right now. What will your message be to your guys in the locker room and maybe in the second half?
Step on the gas. We got to step on the gas. We can't let up. And even when things look bad, even when things look good, we got to do exactly what we want to do and do what coaches are telling us to do.
Thanks for this.
Thank you.
Okay, Tyree Adams has spotted the REDBLACKS 16 points, but that Edmonton Elks offense is still struggling.
Is a complete understatement. We will get to the problems with the Edmonton Elks in just a moment, but Adams with a very nice start, so let's give credit to the Ottawa REDBLACKS, back alongside Jim Barker, Matt Dunnigan, and Milt Stiegel. And okay, let's start with the good, because the REDBLACKS do deserve a lot of credit. They're coming off that bye, and you know, we've especially seen some good glimpses of the defense this season. But putting it all together, special teams, you've had some nice plays, and Adam's doing a really nice job of controlling this game so far.
He is, Kate, and you know, credit goes where credit's due too. Kahari Jones is putting him in good situations, not asking to be a pocket quarterback, using his skill set, get him out on the edge, and I love it. And here's a perfect example. Early on, there's Tyree, point fake, a little RPO. You've got Resna and Konar, and then as you see in the middle, Morgan, he oversteps, guards on him, and that's all because Tyree's on the edge. And then there goes the running back up the football field. Big lanes for them to gape in here. Watch this. This is Marco Dubois. He'll check down. Look at him. He's on the edge again. I love this quarterback in space. You heard Suits talk about it. It reminds me of Damon Allen. He certainly does. Damon did it for 23 years. This is this kid's first start. And in space, he's magic. He looks just like D.A. did, number 9. Wow. And that you don't see very often. I never saw D.A. do that before. That was incredible. But, you know, hey, Brandon Dandridge's return game is there. Their defense is making Edmonton look like the team that they are, a team that's struggling, looking for answers. But Tyree Adams, Kahari Jones is calling a really good game. Look at this, guys. 14 rushes. We talked about the importance of establishing the line of scrimmage to 10 passes. That's what it's all about, helping out a young quarterback with that run game. And believe me, his skill set getting on the edge is huge to help that running game out and those big boys up front.
All right, I got to go to the negative now. And the Elks, I mean, we're running out of words to describe this team so far this season. Jarrett Daggy, we thought he would come in, maybe spark something. He's been awful. 56 yards. So I got to ask you, do you go back to Taylor Cornelius? I mean, I can't even believe I'm asking this question at this point.
Well, they've just got such major problems right now. We talked about the way you get out of a rut is you get physical, is you try to run the ball, you try to do some things to help a young quarterback out, and none of that has happened. They have 1 first down in the first half. They haven't been able to complete the big play. They haven't completed the underneath play. He's thrown high, and it's not his fault. Last week, when Cornelius got pulled out in the 3rd quarter against the defending Grey Cup champions, they were behind by 4. That's a huge decision. When they didn't bring Cornelius back after Loxley fumbled, I thought they would bring him back. Their quarterback room would make some sense, Milt. But now it's a complete mishmash. I don't know if you can bring Cornelius back.
I am. And as an Elks fan, I'm disgusted right now at what I'm seeing. Cornelius should have never been taken out last week, and right now I'm putting him back in the game. And I know Chris Jones is a very prideful guy, but you have to swallow your pride. He gives you the best opportunity to not win the game, but be competitive, because it's going to be hard to win the game. You talk about it. Quarterback is not the only problem. Offensive line is bad. Receivers are dropping ball. They have a lot of problems going on. And if they continue the way they're playing and they don't score another point,
my goodness,
Something big needs to happen then. If you go 2 games without scoring a point in the CFL and you stand pat, as a fan, I'm not putting up with that. That's a big problem.
See, here's the thing that got me about the Cornelius yanking. In game, it was game 3, and they had him all last year. Same coordinator, same quarterback coach, same head coach, same GM. And they had him all last year and made the decision to go with him.
14-18, 130 yards and a touchdown that game when he got pulled.
Again, it's like you have him. You know,
I'm at a loss. At this point, I think we're all at a loss at this point. We'll see what happens in the second half. Red Blacks up 16-zip.
The kickoff Canada Day weekend with a matchup of 2 highly motivated teams desperate for a win. Marco Dubois, the rare fullback, catch down the sideline, tiptoeing goes Dubois. Touchdown, Red Blacks. Onside here, surprise, and it will be recovered by Ottawa. Welcome to a party in the nation's capital. Pass rush getting after it, and Daggy goes down. Ottawa's defense there once again.
I've got a great idea for Canada Day long weekend. How about some more CFL games? Coming up tomorrow, a great matchup between the Bombers and the Alouettes, and then it all wraps up on Monday. The battle of the undefeateds, the Lions taking on the Argonauts. What a game that should be. But let's look at the Blue Bombers and the Alouettes. The Bombers coming off that humbling loss. The Alouettes, perfect so far in the season. What do you like, Coach?
Well, it's a real litmus test for Montreal. They're 2-0. They've been playing great. Cody Fajardo's getting some confidence. Austin Mack is establishing himself as a quality receiver in this league. But how good are they? We're going to find out against the Bombers.
They get Walter Fletcher back to help complement Big William Stanback, and I think take some pressure off of Cody Fajardo. But so Winnipeg gets Jackson Jeffcoat back and Mario Houston on the defensive side of the ball. Nick Dembski's a game-time decision. A lot of shuffling going on right before this football game, but it's a monster matchup right now.
As you mentioned, yes, Montreal, they are 2-0. Let's be honest. The 2 teams they beat aren't so good. Ottawa and Hamilton, their next 3 games, not only Winnipeg, but their next 3 games, Winnipeg, BC, and Toronto. We'll find out how really good they are.
You know, you mentioned the backs, too. Weather may play a factor in this game, too, so this is going to be very interesting. Meanwhile, we have something interesting going on in Ottawa. Well, not if you're an Elks fan, but definitely if you're a Red Black fan. Stats coming up next. First half stats with Jim Barker.
2 first downs, 19 rushing yards. You put that together, and you have a tough first half. 6 2-and-outs, but on the other side, 201 yards for young Tyree Adams. That's something to really be proud of. 82 yards rushing, 136, great split.
All right, the Red Blacks with a great start in this one. We'll see if the Elks can turn things around. Back to TD Place with Marshall and Glenn right after this.
Tonight's our night. You just wait and see.
Friday night football here on TSN as our nation leads 16-0 and frustration flowing for the Edmonton Elks. Matthew Shinetti's down at field level with the head coach, Chris Jones.
Chris, I know your defense is keeping you in the game. How are you evaluating your quarterback position right now, knowing that there's a guy in there trying to go ahead and get his rhythm, but also you guys need a touchdown?
Well, I mean, we're not having any kind of success on 1st and 10. When we do have a little bit of success, we have a chance, but we've got to have more success on 1st and 10. We've got to run the ball more effectively. And then when they send 4-man rush and goes on, we've got to protect him. I mean, so a little bit of that's, on our front. We've got to protect better.
Will Daggy start the second half?
Yes, he will.
Thank you.
All right.
There you go. There's your answer. Jared Daggy will start the second half. Now, Taylor Cornelius started the second half versus Toronto.
True.
And it was a 4-point game, as the panel just talked about, and he got pulled after what was his best first half of the season. And so Stephen McAdoo's calling the plays for Daggy, and we'll see him at least in Series 1.
Chris Jones there mentioning first downs being a problem, not setting themselves up for the success coming into tonight. Just 5.8 yards per first down. That was 7th in the CFL. And it's no surprise that they're dead last in the Canadian Football League in second down conversion rate, just 32%. Moonshot to kick things off from Edmonton here, as it is hauled in at the 45-yard line. Looks like that's Kenny Onyeka, the Canadian here on Canada Day long weekend, getting himself a kickoff return, the defensive lineman.
Well, not quite Danridge-like.
Close.
But, you know, the big boy's got it. Like Tyree Adams in the first half, I thought he settled in really nicely. He's over 200 yards of offense. He got comfortable throwing on the run. This was a nice one where he hit that push route, and then how about that athleticism? There's a little gizmo for you. And then over the middle, I thought that throw there was the confidence builder. Quarterback draw.
They'll begin with a run, stretch to the sideline, trying to find a hole and cut it back is Tuggle. And Niles Morgan, good to see him back on the field, stacking it up. And Jamin Pelly all the way over to the sideline that time, making the play at 330 pounds. The big man can move on the interior for Edmonton.
Big is an understatement. That's a big boy right there.
Mount Pelly.
You want to be ahead of Pelly in the food line at lunch. I'm just saying. Just make sure you're ahead of him.
Pursuit from the backside from the 300.
He got over there, didn't he?
330-pounder holds it to a 3-yard gain. Adams on 2nd and 7. Pressure on, dances away from AC Leonard. Ball tipped at the line of scrimmage. Intended for COC Mariner, incomplete.
I think Connie Ely made that play, and that was a good one because that was a little bit of that Houdini we've heard of from Tyree Adams, where it looked like he was caught in the backfield. And there's Ely there. He's going to keep with it. But watch it. First of all, the escape here. Adams, that's a nice move to bounce outside, and then the tip. Incomplete. Number 9, he got his paw on it.
Yeah, and they blow this one dead after the ball was snapped back to Richie Leone. And Tyree Adams going for some answers. And sort of what they can do better is, again, Sims, one of the bright spots for Edmonton, despite the 0-3 start to the season, stands back, the lone returner here for Edmonton at his own 10-yard line. And Leone, another great kick, spirals it down the 15-yard line. Sims tries to make the first man miss, and he cannot. Alonzo Adai, as a flag comes up, the Canadian out of West Virginia.
Not a face mask.
And again, Dave Foxcroft, the lead official here tonight.
Major foul, Ottawa, number 20, face mask. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
The cover team's been very good for Ottawa, keeping Sims bottled up, but this will tack on 15 right there. Left hand and full grab and pull. No question there.
Well, they bring it out to the 30-yard line. Heard Chris Jones, Jared Daggy would start the second half. He does with a handoff inside. There's Kevin Brown. It barely said his name in this ball game as he takes a shot up and around the ribs and gets up holding that one.
This is what Chris Jones was talking about, was to get some success on first down, because if you got your quarterback throwing from the pocket on second down and it's his first start, receivers got to come and make some plays for him, or else you get a lot of this. Protection an issue, and first down success an issue for the Edmonton Elks again.
Daggy takes the snap. Flags come up as well on the snap, as that Edmonton offensive line has been struggling to start the season, to say the least.
Well, this is the
procedure. Edmonton, number 64. 5-yard penalty remains first down.
That doesn't help, but this is the issue, and these are the facts. I mean, 14 quarters of play, and 8 of them, the Elks have been shut out in Canadian football. That's almost unheard of.
Quarterback is the topic of discussion, but it is the unit right now, struggling to put points on the board and move the football. This one rifled in, and did he hold on to it? The strong hands of Dylan Mitchell as Brandon Dandridge was right there in coverage, and somehow 17 was able to pull this one in.
Well, I'm not sure they're giving it to him.
They'll say incomplete now.
Yeah, I'm not sure they're giving it to him. I think it did hit the ground.
Ah, yes, trapped underneath.
Yeah. Again, you know, Danridge is right there, but again, like looked like he had to throw over the rush, but a lower throw helps a receiver there.
2nd and 15 after the penalty and the incompletion. Daggy goes comeback to the wide side, incomplete. Trying to find Mitchell once again. 0 for 10 on 2nd downs here tonight, Suits.
Yeah, and you know, you're basically looking at a 2-possession game. And with this field tilted, you know, punts back and forth a couple to start the second half is working in Ottawa's favor, because every time they exchange this way with a 2-and-out from Edmonton, they're getting a little bit closer, a little bit better field position, which turns into points, and now you're 3 possessions. I guess I'm asking, is it Taylor Cornelius time?
It has been Richie Leone winning the battle against Jake Julian here tonight, as this time Julian gets a friendly bounce. And Dandridge picked this one up at the last second and pushed it out of bounds. Michael Broderick's having himself a night on special teams. I think he's going to get credit for his 3rd second overall pick, as Ottawa leads and they have the football. PGA on TSN continues tomorrow with 3rd round action of the Rocket Mortgage Classic. Golfers tee off Saturday at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific, only on TSN, as Taylor Pendrith tied for the lead right now at a Richmond Hill. See what he can pull off. The Rocket Mortgage Classic. Golf for a PGA right here on TSN. Tyree Adams, bootleg, comes back to look at Marco Dubois. Oh, Houdini made a man miss. Looking down the field, and now we'll throw it underneath. Oh, Suits, they were trying to dial up something there off the touchdown to Marco Dubois earlier.
Yeah, had a deep route. I believe it was Ciosi Mariner that was crossing all the way across the field, so run the bootleg, get outside to the wide field, and then throw back to a backside post, but it was covered, and the pressure got there late. That was A.C. Leonard making a difference. We talked about him off the top.
One of the most athletic pass rushers in the Canadian Football League over the last 5 years, and he can't track down Tyree Adams. Keeps running away from him at the last second. Adams here on 2nd and long, zips it out, and it is complete. That'll go to C.J. Lewis, who loses his bucket and will be short of the 1st down.
Well, that was a big punt, the last one from the Elks, that got that big bounce and take it all the way deep into Ottawa territory. So that whole field position matchup I was talking about sort of eliminated by one big kick, and you get the feeling that Sims is going to break free at some point.
Canadian flag here on Canada Day long weekend, not moving at all at TD Place, so it's really just a straight up battle of leg strength right now between Jake Julian and Richie Leone, and Leone's hacked this one. Yeah. A little bit shorter. Sims picks it up at the 50 and gets what he can before he's wrapped up by Adam Auclair, the linebacker out of Laval, as Jared Daggy takes the field looking for something, anything, for the Edmonton Elks offense here on Friday Night Football. Jared Daggy 0 of 10 on 2nd down right now, but man, it wasn't that long ago. So you were there. You saw it live in person. Edmonton moving the football and him just playing free and loose against the Argos on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, he had 6 possessions. He got 2 touchdowns out of the 6, and he looked good. I mean, now, this was, the Argos had a big lead, and what has Matty called them? Yards after beatdown in a lot of ways, but he brought that sense of urgency. We haven't seen that, whether it's the play calling, a combination of that, the O-line, and just him maybe with some nerves, because we've seen some high throws from Jared Daggy.
We'll go back to work here. He begins with an empty backfield. First time we've seen this look. They will go 6 wide as as he flips it out to the wide side. Is Vincent Forbes Montbleau making the grab. Came into tonight with 3 catches, 2 touchdowns. You saw him just a second ago on the big long play at the end of the Toronto game.
Yeah, and sometimes it's a numbers game. So, you know, this is where Chris Jones talked to Matthew at halftime. Go ahead and run it, guys. And this is just his own defense with a 4-man pressure. 4-man pressure, your quarterback's got to have time. It's 4 against 5. So 4-man pressure, zone behind it. Your quarterback should be able to sit there and at least have 5-6 seconds to go through his progression and find the open guy, which he did with Montblanc there on the outside, because that was the weak spot in the zone defense. You don't have any time to do that. You get picked against the zone defense.
There's a first down on 2nd down. That's their first of the ball game here, trailing by 16, trying to build some momentum. In week 4, looking for their first win of the season. Daggy sticks in the belly of Kevin Brown. Good read against the D end, and he'll go for a gain of 7.
And this helps. You know, little Kevin Brown breaking a tackle and having success on first down. Now that short crossing route against the zone, which is a high percentage throw, turns into a new set of downs rather than 3 yards short.
And the man with the interception from earlier on tonight for the Red Blacks, Damon Webb, is down as he got rocked by the same color uniform trying to fight in against the run from his boundary halfback spot. He's been active tonight. And trying to shake it off. We'll step aside as Webb makes his way back slowly to his feet. From the creator of Euphoria comes the new HBO original series starring Abel the Weekend Tesfaye and Lily Rose Depp, The Idol. Stream now only on Crave. The offense for Edmonton starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm here in the crowd. Ready to celebrate Canada Day long weekend. There were people in the Rideau Canal here outside of TD Place kayaking, people playing cornhole, had the tailgate going, live band before. Great way to kick off.
It really is a beautiful city. I mean, honestly.
Eric Daggy wants to visit the end zone right now. And he'll hand it off on 2nd down. Good hard run by Kevin Brown and some good work up front.
Yeah, back-to-back runs. And what it does is it now that defensive line for Ottawa, they've got in their mind, okay, we got to key into number 4 because they're going to number 4. They're starting to give him the rock. So now that play action has you get an extra split second.
Edmonton with 4 receivers to the right of Daggy. He loads it up, looks over the top. High spiral looking for the corner. Brandon Dandridge is right there to intercept it. Read the mail the whole way.
Well, this one's really on Daggy because Dandridge, this is why DBs love playing against quarterbacks in their first start. This is a corner here against the zone. Now, the corner route comes from that receiver number 3, but the corner who has this outside zone decides, you know what, he's not even looking there. I'm going to just fall underneath this corner route, and I'm going to just sit underneath it and take the football. He doesn't expect me to be back here. My job was the flat. Forget the flat. I'm playing the play.
Inside handoff, good burst again for the Red Blacks running game. I remember Maurice French having that corner route completion in the first half. It was one of the only first downs for the Edmonton Elks, and Daggy had to pump it just to hold Brandon Dandridge down before he threw it. This time, he tried to give him that same look, and Dandridge wasn't falling for it.
Yeah, he didn't fall for it. He just said, yeah, no, I've seen this before. I've read that chapter. I'm closing the book on you on that corner.
9 takeaways in 21 CFL games for Brandon Dandridge as Adams goes underneath, crossing around on 2nd down. Hardy knocked off his feet. Good job by Morgan that time, alongside the coverage from Dwayne Thompson the second, and Ottawa can't turn it into anything, and let's go. We'll send out the punting unit.
You can't take your helmet off in the Canadian football for long. Have you noticed that? Like, whether you're on offense or defense, you see in other leagues they'll take their helmet off, they'll put a baseball cap on, walk around and take a couple drinks of water and have coffee and whatever. Not here, man. You get an interception. Don't be too far away from your helmet.
Richard Leone leans into this one, gets it out to the 55, and it is returned back down inside the 40. Lucas Purifoy said, we got to get as many possessions as we can for our offense. Here's another chance for Jared Daggy and the Elks. Last year, the Ottawa REDBLACKS were looking for a playmaker in their secondary. Douglas Coleman has stepped up this season for them, creating all sorts of impact plays. For more, here's Matthew Shinetti.
Get an interception yet, Marsh. We have certainly seen him get a sack and some really heavy hits, especially one earlier this evening. But when you take a look at his college career and how a receiver who became a DB got his education, look no further than his freshman year at Texas Tech, when in practice, who did he go up against? But Patrick Mahomes. We talked about with Douglas Coleman this week. He talked about how much he learned. Again, Patrick Mahomes with those eyes, those misdirections, the throwing angles, everything that he can do to kind of mess up a defensive back. And when I asked Coleman about it, he said maybe it was expect the unexpected. We'll see if he can, over the course of the season, get a pick. But you know, this is a guy ready for the CFL when he's dealing with the creativity of Patrick Mahomes.
Well, 4 sacks and 7 career games, and talked about the sense of urgency because he was a receiver and he knows what the quarterback's going through.
Kevin Brown gets the run here on first down as the REDBLACKS string it out. And I asked Coleman this week, why'd you switch? Why'd you do it? He said, I played defensive back when I was late in high school my senior year, and I had a bunch of picks. I just thought, well, this is kind of easy. Why not go ahead and switch over here to Adam?
Oh, he did the right thing. He absolutely did the right thing. Go play defense and go hit somebody rather than be hit. But he loves getting after the quarterback, and he's done a nice job of that when he's asked to blitz.
Drops back this time as they rotate the defense. Justin Howell, the free safety, over into the boundary. That's where Daggy looks, and there is Coleman.
Cue the hit. And good for Dunbar to hang on, jump up, but there he is. There is Douglas Coleman. He's dropping back into that middle. And number 35, the radio screen, look at him spying. Look at him spying. He knows the quarterback's throw motion. He knows the route tree. Knows exactly what the receiver wants to do. He wants to get in that middle, and pow! There it is.
First catch for Stephen Dunbar here tonight, and full value for him. Pump and go on the outside, trying to get French off the seam. It's Dandridge with a big hit, but somehow French holds on to it inside the 5.
Back-to-back plays where the Elks receivers have come up big for their quarterback. We've talked about this tonight, that young quarterback in his first start who's a little bit nervous, throwing some high balls. They're not quite as accurate as he'd like, but the receivers can bail him out on that. Back-to-back plays.
Score zone so far this season, Edmonton just 2 of 5. Scoring majors deep inside the 20. Cross ball motion. Daggy pulls it, rolls to his right, flips it away, and just decides to live and play on 2nd and goal.
Yeah, just threw that one away. That was a misdirection idea offensively. In other words, get the flow of the offense going left and then peel out of there to the right. And the idea there is you'll have one guy wide open because he's not checked. Baron Miles had the P's and Q's, had the T's crossed and the I's dotted on that one defensively, and the guys did their assignments the way it was written up.
REDBLACKS 6th ranked defense inside the score zone. Weakness against weakness here as Edmonton trying to get a major, get back into this ball game. Loading it up, fade ball, back of the end zone, and it is caught. Touchdown Elks as Maurice French shimmies in the back of the end zone.
Best throw of the night for Jared Daggy. Up over the outside shoulder, well-covered play, but because of the accuracy of the throw, you can't defend it. It's up over that outside shoulder with lots of room in Canadian football, 65 yards wide, and drops it in the bucket. French with the touchdown, his first.
Slot fade for the TD, puts 6 points on the board. Chris Jones decides he wants 2 more. He'll keep the offense on the field here, as 1 of 2 on the season are the Elks on 2 points, and the one that they got was a Jared Daggy quarterback keeper against Toronto. just 5 days ago. The fullback Mario Villamizar out of Wilfrid Laurier is in. Run look, they'll give run. Flag comes up. Kevin Brown going to try and win a sprint to the corner, and he does for now.
Holding Edmonton, number 62. 10-yard penalty will retry the Congress.
That was Ivy all the way on the backside of the play, the left tackle.
Yeah, you know, and I've said this before many times, that sometimes I know fans get upset with officials and some of the officiating, but I mean, players got to take accountability. That's just poor technique by Martez Ivy.
Regardless, Chris Jones keeps out the offense. So a 2-point convert here from the 13-yard line. Maybe a little breathing room. Daggy, deep drop, steps up, pressure on, evades it, pumps. Now he's going to try and run for himself. Can't get to the end zone. That's Abdul Kana right there alongside Tyrone Freda, the global middle linebacker, getting the start tonight.
You know, but if you're an Edmonton Elks fan watching this game right now, you've got to be encouraged with that series. I mean, that was the best throws and the best series for this Edmonton Elks offense, you know, in this game. I mean, this is a fantastic throw to get it outside shoulder. Look at how close Kenna is. I mean, he can't play it any better. He wants to be on the inside shoulder to make Daggy make this big throw over the top. And that's got to give him a ton of confidence. Now, when you think about the receivers bailing out their quarterback, this gets him down there with French making this tough one behind him and taking a huge hit, but hanging on. He just bailed out his quarterback. That one was a little off, but he said, don't worry about that. Throw it in my time zone, and I'm going to bring it down. And Dunbar did that earlier in the drive.
And full credit as well to Stephen McAdoo, who's been criticized a lot at the beginning of the season, but he was calling throws into the middle of the field there for Stephen Dunbar, a pump and go, a seam ball, a fade into the back of the end zone, being aggressive and trying to put some points on the board. As Edmonton does, they still trail by 10 here as we near the end of the third quarter. Sent away by Dean Faithful. Down to the 25-yard line. Dandridge had the interception for the Red Blacks just a few short minutes ago. And kick return. Back out to the 40-yard line as Tyree Adams comes back out onto the field. And he's been off, it feels like, for a little while here.
Yeah, and that helps the Elks defense. You know, they feel now more fresh, more jump in their step. A couple of high fives walking out.
You saved your spot.
In the second half, 6 first downs for the Elks, none for the Red Blacks. A little bit of momentum building. Jackson Bennett in the backfield alongside Adams. They'll screen it out to him. Get the ball in the hands of 22 and down the right sideline. The Canadian goes, picking up a first down on a well-designed pass play for the Red Blacks.
Really nice block downfield on Lucas Purifoy, who's down close to the box playing in that tweener spot. And this little screen setup is blocked well. I think it was Bahar.
Ari Jones gets back into his play sheet with first down already called into Tyree Adams. Marco Dubois, fullback, is in the game. Touchdown earlier tonight. Turn around, hand it off to Bennett. Get a lead from Dubois. Nice run that time for a gain of 9. A little bit of creativity in the running game as well. A different look that time.
You know, and this is an important sense of urgency needed here for this drive. After a score, the next drive after is so important, even to, you know, regain the field position. And you can see that urgency in Adams.
Dustin Crum, the backup quarterback tonight, comes in, first year out of Kent State. Yard off the ball, of course, as Crum gets his first taste of the short yardage package. Takes the snap, leans over the top, and just follows Cyril Hogan St. Don and Drew Desjardins. I think I'd follow the guy that got the big pay contract coming in on the offensive line as well for the Ottawa REDBLACKS.
Well, they've been pretty good. I mean, especially when you have a quarterback that can get outside and run that bootleg the way we've seen Adams do it tonight.
That's what I'm trying to find out.
And it helps with your interior run game when you have an athletic quarterback like that, as Matty mentioned at halftime from the panel.
See what they go back to here for play selection. Kahari Jones in the offense. Bahar, Acklin, Hardy, and Dubois to the left of Adams. Give the handoff. It is Bennett. He's rocked that time by A.C. Leonard, falling off from his defensive end spot, but another solid gain on first down.
Here's kind of what I mean about the split. Look at the split here between A.C. Leonard, the defensive end, and that tackle inside. I mean, when you have to be that wide because you're afraid that, well, I won't say afraid, but you're holding that contained part of your assignment so you can't crash down and catch the back in the backfield. These guys aren't afraid. Don't get me. That was the wrong choice of words there.
Hard count this time. Looks like Ely jump. Free play for Adams. He completes it to Mariner. Dancing his way for the first down. They'll decline the penalty and move the sticks once again for Tyree Adams on a gain of 10.
Offside. Edmonton, number 90. That penalty's declined. Result of the play is a first down.
Yeah, and sometimes an offside is a mistake by a defender, but sometimes it is that hard count. And you mentioned it that Adams with that hard count got Ely moving forward. Get that weight going forward. It's tough to stop it.
Adams checks at the line. Blitz look from the Elks. Will they bring it or bail out? Here comes the house right into the run. And that one the whole way was Luchez Purifoy.
And a losing effort. Big game for Purifoy last week. I mean, a couple picks. He had a big impact defensively. He's been playing great. And this is Purifoy just saying, you know what, this isn't really my responsibility, but I see the play. I've been around long enough. I'm just going to play the play.
That's the old, oh, you're going to bring an extra receiver to the party? Watch this.
Yeah.
Ball out quickly this time. Goes to Bahar. Spins away. Can't escape. The tackle made on the play by Darius Bratton. And Edmonton's defense fired up here as they finally get some life from their offense. The end of the third quarter is tonight the night. Can you feel it in the air, Ottawa? Is the home losing streak going to end? A 10-point advantage headed to the fourth. But Jared Daggy starting to find his stride. Come on back for the fourth. Through 3 quarters of play, could it be? Could it be? It's been such a struggle for the Ottawa REDBLACKS at home. 16-6 they lead as there's momentum for Edmonton right now, and Jared Daggy on that last drive, Glenn, starting to put it together. Man, Ottawa fans right now have they've been hurt so many times before. They've got to be clinging to the hope that tonight it can finally end.
Yeah, absolutely. Both these teams desperate for the win, obviously, but you know, that drive by Daggy, 5 plays, 43 yards, that was a big one. We'll see if they can build on that momentum. Their defense has stepped up here, and looks like it'll be a field goal attempt to start this fourth quarter for Ottawa. But yeah, both teams seriously desperate for their first win of the season.
And you know, of course, that it was Edmonton trying to get that against Toronto last week. They weren't able to do it. They feel the pain. They've got the longer, of course, home losing streak right now, but Ottawa fans, they don't care about Edmonton's home losing streak. They only care about their own as Lewis Ward out to try and knock this one through from 41 yards away to begin the fourth quarter. And he does. Ward on target tonight.
Canada Day, nation's capital. Happy Canada Day weekend. Well, it's not Canada Day today, but happy Canada Day weekend, folks.
I like to consider from Thursday to the following Tuesday.
There you go.
That's the long weekend for me.
There you go. You've got a heavy schedule this weekend.
That's great.
Fred.
I'm spoiled. Can't wait. Get to go to Montreal.
3 games in 3 nights, 4 nights.
Got the Bombers and the Owls.
Yeah.
Got BC and Toronto with you coming up on Monday. We got a great schedule for you here in week 4 of the CFL and TSN as Jared Daggy pulls the ball, looks to run to his right, can't get any blocks, and just dives down. Gets a gain of 5 on the play, using the legs, getting a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah, I like this call. I mean, you know, Stephen McAdoo, you're right, has taken some heat for some play calling, and we talked about the O-line struggles there, but that call gets Daggy outside with time to, he could have stopped, set up, and surveyed the field.
Right on their average for the year on first down, gain of 5. 5 options here for Daggy. Looks to throw, slant. It is completed. Dylan Mitchell breaks across the 50 and is wrapped up at the 46-yard line of the Red Blacks. Another first down. On first down, gain of 19 for Mitchell.
Nice slant here for Mitchell. It's against press coverage, and when you take a look at press, if you take a gamble underneath, and Dan Bridge did, he gambled for the football. This is what happens. If you miss it, so there's some yak yards added on. Yards after catch.
And it looks like one of our fan favorites in Ottawa, Douglas Coleman, after making the tackle, is slow up onto his feet. So the Texas Tech alum make his way off to the sideline. And earlier in the ball game, we saw Lamont recover the surprise onside kick that was not then recovered. Listed as the backup 6 defensive back, strong side linebacker. I wonder what Lorenzo Malden's got dialed up here in the 4th to try and seal this victory for the Ottawa Red Blacks. Daggy in plus territory, looks to his right, loads it up, dancing forward, and down he goes.
I think it was Malden, wasn't it?
I think that's Kenny Onyeka at the bottom of the pile.
Yeah, it was Onyeka, you're right.
He has learned well from watching 94.
94 is up at the top of your screen, and Onyeka down at the bottom, so they're just going to squeeze his pocket. Basically, when we talked to Bob Dice, he said, yeah, we like our guys up front and what they're doing. They like to dent the pocket. I would suggest that was more than a dent. Really. Take your car in for full repairs after that one.
Implosion. See if they tee off on 2nd and long. 4-man rush. Delay coming. Daggy trying to get out. There's Lozo. Down he goes. 94 beats his chest as the Red Blacks fans are on their feet.
So, you know, I just mentioned that Stephen McAdoo makes a nice call to get Daggy outside away from this pocket pressure, because he just hasn't had all game long and maybe all year a solid pocket to step up into. It doesn't matter who's taking the snaps. That's Malden just crushing it.
Just had a feeling it might be Lozo's time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
2nd and 12.
That's when the great players do it. They know the time that they got to step up.
Low rolling punt this time.
There you go.
Dances. Suits is happy.
Finally. Right decision.
Lets that one roll through. Single on the board. 16-7. Lozo back to his old tricks. Outstanding defensive player last year, bringing down the opposing quarterback. Time now for the Coors Light moment of chill as Suits sweating it out here up in the booth on a hot day in Ottawa. But Tyree Adams is cool as could be.
And then executes this baby in the first half to Dubois. How about this? Woo! Oh. Not even in my dreams can I do that.
9.5, 9.5.
Absolutely.
9.6.
How about that?
Still vibing. Tyree Adams here.
Still trying to chill. Stay in the moment. Game's on the line. 4th quarter. Got to finish.
He has been through a lot. As you heard earlier from Matthew Shinetti, his journey to the Canadian Football League excited to have the opportunity here in Ottawa as they'll run it off tackle, cutting back against the grain, running through 2 tackles. Now a third is Jackson Bennett. And a first down on the ground. We've said this a lot tonight, Suits. The running game on first down, getting a gain of 10+. This one goes for 14.
Yeah, against a team that has given up a ton of yards on the ground in the Edmonton Elks. I mean, Tuggle now, they definitely committed to the run Ottawa has tonight, more so than they have all year. And it's paying off, especially when you add an athletic quarterback that can run.
4 broken tackles that time for Jackson Bennett as they struggle to bring down the 222-pounder out of the University of Ottawa. Adams goes back to Bennett, dances, the patience, and gets his way up to the 50.
You know, run defense, as you know, Marshall, is about 12 guys getting to the ball. I mean, you know, yes, there's assignments. You've got to cancel your gap. So let's say that's the gap. Let's say that's a gap and that's a gap. You got to cancel your gap. Make sure you know what gap you're in. Make sure you know it. Now, that wasn't obviously the player's responsibility, but those are all gaps that you have a responsibility for. But after that, it's real simple. 12 hats to the ball. Everybody is responsible for run defense.
Adams takes the snap once again, goes back to the running game. And on 2nd and 2, another first down, Jackson Bennett. Clock continues to roll as on that last replay we saw the left guard Drew Desjardins matched up against Woodley Apollon his first year. I mean, it's the way that Edmonton plays. You've highlighted this front, a 3-man front, some of the lighter bodies, and trying to cancel those gaps. When you got a 300-pounder on a guy who's 220, you want to run it right at him.
Yeah, go attack. And you know, it's not just the linebackers. You know, I know that people think run stopping is all about the middle linebacker. It's not just his responsibility.
Well, bringing Demontre Tuggle here in the backfield after 3 great runs from Jackson Bennett.
Tight end set with the fullback.
Yes, Dubois was in. They loaded up, go play action, crossing route. Jalen Acklin makes the grab inside the 30. And Kahari Jones dialing it up right now. Going run, run, run. Bringing the other back, bringing the fullback. See ya.
There's fullback. Watch the play action. Watch how the defense hesitates just for a second. Play action. Got to look at the running back first. There's that first. Now that takes you away from the pass rush. That gives your quarterback another steamboat. 1 more second. That's all he needs. Crossing road all the way from left to right. And Acklin comes up with a catch.
Great contested catch from Acklin that time in the tight coverage by Darius Bratton. Pressure look again from the Elks. Last time they blitzed right into the run. This time, trying to learn from it. Oh, we talked about this week with Tyree Adams. The backside RPO looks. And he knows he missed one.
Yeah, he knows he missed one because you know when you load the line of scrimmage, then the read for the quarterback is hot route. And Adams knows it, and he knows he just missed it. See, they're all lined up on the line, so it's the hot route. Hit that hot route real quick, and you might score because now there's only 1-on-1. That ball just a little bit behind.
Another opportunity on 2nd and long. Max protection as they plus in Nate Bahar. Adams gets hit low as he throws. It's incomplete. And a flag is out, and I think this one is going to be a low hit on Adams, who pops up onto his feet. Or was it Serezna in the backfield? Lots of pressure there, and Adams gingerly trying to walk this one off.
Major foul, roughing the passer, Edmonton number 94. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Wow, this is 3 games of 4 now that Jake Serezna has taken a penalty. Now,
and Adams is lucky to walk away from that.
Doesn't matter that you're being blocked. You have to avoid hitting the quarterback low at all costs, or it's a penalty. You just cannot go low like that, and that keeps the drive alive. That was 2nd down.
Tyree Adams, after that play, comes back to the line, and now it's whistled dead before they can get set at the line of scrimmage. And now Dave Foxcroft will whistle it in. 13-yard line. And Tyree Adams happy to let the game clock roll as long as the play clock will allow. Red zone efficiency, you see it there. A struggle so far this year for the Red Blacks, being able to finish drives with majors. They go back to the run. It's been a major part of this drive, and they pick up a couple.
That Purifoy, it's just a little bit slow to get up. Be okay. The training staff didn't come back out. 132 yards rushing so far tonight for the Ottawa Red Blacks. So the Elks giving up right around their average again with 7 minutes to go.
Yep, last in the league at 149 yards rushing allowed per game as we sit with 7:10 remaining here in the fourth. Adams, the fullback, set in with Dubois. Hands it off. Tuggle. Now Adams at 179 pounds is going to lead into the end zone. Touchdown, Red Blacks. Tuggle for 6.
Watch the quarterback and Tyree Adams here lead the way. Little inside zone play, and he bounces back out. Tuggle, great acceleration. There's number 7 getting out in front and saying he doesn't have to hit anybody. Just lead him into the end zone. There you go. I am really enjoying Tuggle's burst. I mean, he's got another gear. It looks like he's going full speed, and then he hits it, and there's another gear there. But Jake Serezna's penalty turns from a 3-point attempt, and the way Ward's kicking, let's just call it 3 points, to a major.
Unfortunately, lost in the wash on that play was Marco Dubois getting hammered on the edge that allowed the cutback for Tuggle, and Dubois slowly goes to the sideline as he will get looked at. But yeah, Tuggle's burst. I mean, the running back position here in Ottawa the last couple of years has been a little bit in witness protection. I mean, you really haven't been able to identify. They brought back William Powell. Didn't turn into much. A variety of different names have moved around, and now it's Tuggle filling in for Devontae Williams. Why not have your 170-pound quarterback lead the way? Red Blacks lead. As Bob Dice directing the sideline. Looks like he is in line to be the head coach of the Ottawa Red Blacks that ends the home losing streak up 26-7 midway through the fourth quarter as Sims tries to get something going. Flags everywhere. This one will likely come back, but Ottawa's red zone this season, 7 trips, 5 field goals, a turnover, and that touchdown that we just saw from Devontae Tuggle bursting back to the outside.
Yeah, let's say on that
return, holding Edmonton, number 39, 10-yard penalty, first down, Edmonton.
On the run by Tuggle, you know, when you are concerned about contain of an athletic quarterback, and watch how wide here Serezna really is, then if you are told to crash down, which he is, you commit yourself because you're so far outside. So go ahead and run it. Now, his job was contain here, but he gives himself up in the wash. Now, both players have the open side off to the left, and containment with no linebacker help. The containment was Serezna, and he had given himself up on crashing down inside.
Another wood cookie cut here on Canada Day long weekend in the nation's capital. And Jarrett Daggy goes back to work on offense. Horizontal run from Kevin Brown going nowhere once again. As it's Blessman Teala, the top pick in the global draft, getting the stop that time on Brown.
Well, coming in for the Elks, the thought was, can Jarrett Daggy provide a spark, and could he get this team, you know, playing with a better sense of urgency? Because they had issues up front. We've talked about that tonight, and that's been an issue all game. And they've had issues on defense against the run. That reared its ugly head again tonight. So the issues for Chris Jones haven't changed, and they revealed themselves again tonight.
Four receivers to the left of Daggy. Again, the deep drop. Fades it over the top. There's Kyron Moore down the middle of the field. They can't tackle him until he crosses the 55. And you could see Daggy just feathering that one in for a gain of 38. Catch and run for Swerve.
This is Maddie's yards after beatdown, but they're still battling. And in the CFL, as you know, it could be 3 or 4 possessions. A couple of quick 2-and-outs from your defense. If you score here, like not this play, but if you score on this drive, it's not done yet.
Daggy sets his feet again, tries to hammer this one into Stephen Dunbar. He does. And that'll be close to another first down.
Good to see Damon Webb back in the lineup in the secondary for Ottawa. He'd left get some medical attention.
It is a first down, a gain of 12, and Edmonton starting to play with some pace here as they go to their hurry-up offense. They'll whistle it in. 4-man rush, quick game. Daggy gets it out once again. Complete short right. Or they'll say incomplete. Dribbled along the turf as Daggy just missed a little low, intended for French.
Yeah, they are bringing this back, aren't they?
Yeah, call came in from the far sideline. The best view of it over there. So the double E facing 2nd and 10. And for a crowd that hasn't had the opportunity to get excited about much in a long time, 2nd and 10. 2nd and 10 on Canada Day long weekend, up 26-7. Bring the noise, Ottawa.
Are you going to double down on 94?
You know what? I think so. Oh, the challenge flag may be out from Chris Jones here.
Edmonton is challenging the ruling of an incomplete pass on the previous play. We'll review the play.
So the command center will take a look at it and give Ottawa fans an extra couple minutes to savor what looks like a finally home victory. A look at it from French trying to get his body underneath. They called it incomplete. We'll find out when we return. Ottawa leads Edmonton driving here in the 4th quarter. Jared Daggy trying to find Maurice French. Did he get the arms underneath? We get the verdict from command and head referee Dave Foxcroft.
After review by the command center, the ruling on the field is overturned to a completed pass. The ball will be placed on the 30.5-yard line. It'll be 2nd down, a half a yard to go.
These Ottawa fans, boo-birds out. They're still in home losing streak mode.
Yeah, that looked like a clear catch, but 2nd and 1. I mean, and using the challenge there, I absolutely have to score here. 3-down football time for Edmonton.
2nd and short. Oh, it's stacked up right at the line of scrimmage. You mentioned it early on in the game, Suits.
Yeah.
I mean, even when they're picking it up, it is not convincing in short yardage right now for Edmonton.
Yeah, and honestly, it's want to. It really is. It's the want to factor. Who wants it more? Who gets low leverage? Get the pad level down and just drive off the ball. And offense knows the snap count.
Taylor Cornelius looks on here with 4 minutes remaining in the ball game. Jared Daggy steps up, fades this one, and he just missed French. That should have been a touchdown for Edmonton.
Boy, he had him. It almost looked like Jared Daggy aimed this one because he was open on this crossing route right through in behind the linebacking core and in front of the secondary, and he had him, but he looked like he just kind of tried to stretch it out and maybe throw around a bit of a rush here, but that's a touchdown.
Did you blame Daggy for feeling the Ottawa rush tonight? They've been coming after him, and they will again on 2nd and 10. 4 rushers, steps forward, throws it over the middle, intercepted. Flags up, but Douglas Coleman's in the ball game and got an interception. Matthew Shinetti asked earlier, will he get a pick? For now, it stands.
Edmonton, number 62. That penalties declines. First down, Ottawa.
And the celebration is on here in the nation's capital.
Look at this. This is Coleman, and we talked to you about Coleman and his interceptions and switching from receiver and his 8 interceptions in his senior year. I mean, that's a ton in a college schedule, and a big one here tonight to end this Edmonton drive and all hope of a comeback here. But Hagee went right back to the same play where he missed on that deep crossing route. And this time Coleman again fell right underneath it.
That is the dagger, it feels like, for Daggy tonight. Adams hands it off. Tuggle being chased down from behind. I know it doesn't count, Suits, because it was only preseason, but the last guy to lead the Ottawa REDBLACKS to a home victory, Tyree Adams, preseason against the Toronto Argonauts here at TD Place a couple years ago. 2 touchdowns in the 4th quarter, drove the length of the field after throwing a pick 6. He looks like he's going to get credit for a regular season home victory here as we hit the 3-minute warning. It has been a long time since the Ottawa REDBLACKS were able to get themselves a home victory. I see all of you on social media right now saying, Marshall, Suits, please stop jinxing us, please. Relax. It's 26-7 right now. They're in control. They have the football as we roll inside the 3-minute warning. And the Ottawa REDBLACKS look poised to get back in the win column at home. I know it's just 1, but man, has that ever hung over this organization the same as it has the guys on the other side tonight. Tyree Adams will throw it. Swing it out this time. Quick little jitterbug jump step from Demontre Tuggle in front of the Edmonton bench, and won't be enough for the first down.
Well, you know, I think Tyree Adams has really settled into this first start. And keep in mind, again, we started this game talking about 2 quarterbacks that were in their very first start in the Canadian Football League. And that can go in a lot of different directions. It's very unpredictable. Sometimes you are looking at the beginning of a fantastic career, and sometimes you're looking at the end of a pro career in the CFL, depending on the outcome. I don't think we've seen the end for either of these guys, but one has certainly outperformed the other.
Leone sends it away, a wobbling spiral. Drives Sims back to the 30, makes the first man miss. And the coverage unit is there. Wraps it up after a 46-yard punt. Well, the last time Ottawa won in this building, Suits, who was playing for Ottawa? What is this going to look like? It was against Edmonton. There's Caleb Evans. Fading it to the back of the end zone. Got a look underneath. I think that's Flanders. It is. Timothy Flanders was playing running back in that game. Kenny Stafford. Got a lot of roster turnover trying to find answers in this organization.
Yeah, a lot of quarterbacks since Henry Burris and Trevor Harris. They're trying to find the answer there. And Jeremiah Mazzoli very close.
Throw, almost intercepted. As Daggy looking to the outside, and Ottawa's already got 3 interceptions tonight. They very nearly had a 4th.
So what do you do? You know, what do you do if you're Chris Jones? I mean, Jared Daggy in the second half, better than the first half for sure, but now he's thrown a couple picks. That one almost, again, a pick. Some flashes. Do you go back to Taylor Cornelius?
Team Bailey was all over it, just like Dandridge was earlier, just like Webb before him. This time it's Stephen Dunbar, and that little slot in is one of the few productive plays they've had tonight consistently. A gain of 19 this time to Dunbar.
Very different scenario for Chris Jones and their decision if you compare it to last week when they took Taylor Cornelius out after I thought his best half of the season.
To the outside they go. This one low but complete to Dylan Mitchell.
And they, you know, I think tonight they probably had that in their minds when they decided to keep Jarrett Daggy in after a pretty average first half and not go to Taylor Cornelius. So you know, based on what happened and the backlash from last week and probably the quarterback room, everyone looking at each other like, well, I don't know what's going to happen now, but they decided to keep Daggy in there. He's played better in the second half. Times.
Looks to throw again outside. Forbes mom blow. But interesting emotions in this one because there's people in the Ottawa organization that are out right now not playing that would have loved to have been a part of a home victory, that they've gone through so many home losses. And then you see Taylor Cornelius standing on the sideline. And, he would have loved to have been in and tried to make an impact and not allow that to be.
Not allow it, yeah. Get another shot at it. But yeah, full credit to Tyree Adams and a guy who made a bunch of big plays, key moments.
Daggy for now still controlling, looking over the top into traffic. And it will be incomplete. Intended for Kyron Moore. He told us coming in, he's been through just about everything in his football career through university, and this is going to add just another chapter to it. We'll see what his opportunities are moving forward if Edmonton sticks with him.
I just think it's like, what do you do? What do you do?
They're in a tough spot.
I guess based on a drive or two in the second half, if you're Chris Jones, you go back and give Jared Daggy another shot at being the starter all week in practice. But got to make that decision quickly.
2nd and 10. Daggy goes back to Forbes mom blow. Hakeem Bailey almost had the interception just a couple minutes ago. This time chops out the legs of the Laval product, and the offense stays on the field here in desperation time. I think 3rd and anything, Chris Jones would keep the offense out right now. 5 receivers. Here comes Lozo in that D-line. Daggy gets it away. He's hit, and it's high and incomplete. Went back to the well, but it's a turnover on downs, unable to connect with 82.
You know, a lot of that. I mean, he threw a real nice corner route for a touchdown. You know, his best throw of the night, that was to Maurice French earlier on, but going the other way in the 3rd quarter. But a lot tonight, a lot of his throws tonight have been high. Now, some of it he's got pressure in his face, and he did again, but, you know, whether the receiver's going in the middle or outside, another high throw that had an open guy. The accuracy. Mental toughness, physical toughness, decision-making, and accuracy. 3 keys to a successful quarterback.
As that's going to do it tonight for Tyree Adams. He gets credit for the victory at home for the Ottawa REDBLACKS, and in comes Dustin Crum. But Tyree Adams, first performance here, CFL starts. You mentioned it earlier, Suits. What does it mean?
Well, what does it mean? I mean, it means that the #1 guy is now the head coach of the Toronto Argonauts. We'll see him on Monday. We know Kahari Jones down on the sideline here. Jeff Garcia, great career for him. That was on Labor Day when he took over as the starter and threw for 445, and Bo Levi Mitchell's on that list. So, you know, it's so unpredictable in your very first start. Are we seeing a guy that becomes the next Bo Levi Mitchell or Damon Allen, or are we seeing a guy who, you know, has a good journey and a good career, but ends up coaching quicker than you never know it. I just think Tyree Adams handled the pressure well tonight. Stayed within his frame, didn't try to do things too crazy, didn't try to force the ball. Good play calling to help him, but turnovers were a big issue in the first 2 weeks for Ottawa, and he eliminated that.
I'm happy for that. I'm just saying.
Talking to Zach Collaros this week ahead of Winnipeg Montreal coming up tomorrow, and he said, you know, so you usually like to have a celebratory beer. It tastes a lot better than a losing beer. There's a lot of people around here at TD Place and Lansdowne that enjoy going out for a beverage after the game. I got a feeling tonight for the REDBLACKS fans, the beer might taste a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm gonna correct Zach a little bit. The beer after a victory is 10 times better. Is so much better. Not just a little better. The taste of a beer after a victory, 1,000 times better than one after a loss.
And the energy inside the building tonight was palpable from the start. And Red Blacks fans have really tried to believe, and they've
been great.
They've believed.
Honestly,
and believed, and just waited and waited and waited and hoped and had their heart broken so many times. And they're finally going to get to celebrate a W in front of their own eyes tonight as Dustin Crum, a little Tyree Adams imitation, pulls it on 2nd down and 4.
Well, there's a lot to be excited about, too, for Red Black fans moving forward as the weeks come, move on. I mean, Jeremiah Mazzoli, as we mentioned off the top, is very close to returning and taking over that starting job. And this is what they wanted to build their team around. This is the player that they wanted to build it. Now, they've made sure they've taken their time with his injury, and he looks really good in practice.
Yeah. And just to get ahead of this one before anybody tries to debate it, I don't think there's a quarterback controversy in Ottawa.
No. But a good start and a viable option if you need it, and maybe even a change of pace back. RPO, a little bit of quarterback draw. You could throw Tyree Adams. If Jeremiah is good, you could throw him in and have a change of pace quarterback. So
as you see Bob Dice, a lot of people around the Canadian Football League will be very happy for that man and his coaching staff tonight.
Yeah, I think Bob has earned the respect of the football community across the country in so many different ways and so many different roles, that there are a lot of people that are cheering for Bob. And I have to mention, too, while we have this shot, that is a good-looking cap. I'm telling you.
He is carved out.
I love the look of that red, black R and the red against it. That's a cool-looking cap.
Inside run, and there goes Tuggle.
Oh, boy.
Shut it down, Ottawa. Get on your feet and celebrate a home win. Why not punctuate it?
How about that? Tyree's excited. I'll tell you what, Tuggle's a keeper. And that's going to add to the rush yards against for the Elks. But wow, watch the acceleration again. Talk about all night. Here's another gear. Here it comes. Just cross the middle, outrunning angles. This is at the end of the game. Watch Tyree Adams go, yeah, come on, go, yeah.
He's going to do another one of those spinning cartwheels. Another Coors Light moment of chill may be coming from Tyree Adams. Is it victory formation at home for the Ottawa Red Blacks? And look at these fans.
Loving it. There you go.
Why not set off the fireworks? It might just be one, but it feels like a whole lot more. You can feel the weight lifted off the entire organization. A 26-7 victory.
Hey, our nation, we love y'all. We love y'all.
You heard it right there from Lozo.
I'll tell you what, nation's capital, Canada Day weekend. Red Blacks got the first one. We're in Montreal and then Toronto.
2 more great games coming for you this weekend. The Bombers and the Owls tomorrow. The Lions and the Argos on Monday. Undefeated. Tonight, it was all about Tyree Adams, Demontre Tuttle, and that Ottawa defense. A home victory in the nation's capital to kick off Canada Day long weekend. Wherever you watch from, thanks so much for being a part of the show. Have yourselves a great night. Time for SportsCenter.